That's what I wanted to use. I wanted to use the microphone that I don't have. Oh, Renzai. Hello. You're awake. It's the first time. I swear you're never awake when I start streaming. Okay. One thing I wanted to check, though. You stayed up. Ooh. That's a little weird. Oh, that's why. Okay. Because I used to. Okay. So I'm blowing my microphone out. Despite what people said last week, that I wasn't blowing my microphone out. That's not true. I am absolutely blowing my microphone out. My microphone is peaking constantly in my own audio. I fucking knew it. I should have gone with my gut. You stayed up. Stayed up. Isn't it like 6 o'clock in the morning there? You're definitely the full-on night owl. You've also said I never sleep. A paradox. Yeah, that is true. Either you never. It's 10:53 a.m., but I've been awake since 4 p.m. Yeah, so your day is at night. How does that go with school, by the way? Does that work? Like, do you take night classes? Because every time I talk to you, it's always at a time like this, and you're like, yeah, stayed up late during school shift. How the fuck do you do that? That blows my mind. I have no idea. It was one or the other for me. I could not, like, okay, school starts on Monday. Now I sleep at 11 p.m. I have some questions, but I don't know. Not about your sleep schedule, more about what we're going to do today. Because I have a couple of things I want to talk about. A subject I have wanted to talk about for a while. And it's only now coming to the forefront for me. As my project has grown in depth and breadth. It is both wider and deeper. It has grown, yeah. It has grown in terms of oh, that's me. Okay. It has grown in terms of sound made and also in size. But I suppose we could start the conversation with a slightly different question before I get into the grown large. Before I get into the to the main discussion. But I guess so. Here's my question. Here's my very first question, and then we'll go on with the Socratic method. So my very first question, the most important one: why is my camera constantly zooming in and out? That's not my first question. That was the pre-first question. My first question is: should we do? Let's just fuck it. Let's just turn that a little bit so it doesn't look like I just have Brittany in the background. Yeah, why is it doing that? Should we do gameplay first or should we do discussion first? That's my first question. That's like my real actual first question. Is should we do gameplay first or should we do discussion first? My cam does like Brittany. It's constantly trying to zoom in on her. Okay, I'm going to look up, what is the name of my webcam? Mexico. I had a an app that stopped it from auto zooming. Flip a coin. Corvid, welcome. I don't know the discussion because we haven't had it. That's true. But it's juicy. I guess my question is, would a discussion be better when a few more people show up, or will it be better? The game is if on a winner's night for Travelers. We're going to finish this game, I think. It's so, like, the writing is so good that I feel like I want to finish it. I even, like, reached out to the people who made it, which is I've never done that before. Partially because I think that they, like, I would get a more positive response. Why is the Nextgo app just doesn't have a window, apparently? Weird. Close window. So yeah, that is the game. More people would be better for the discussion. That's kind of what I was thinking as well. If you start the discussion, you may not get around to the game. That is also very true. Okay, cool. You've convinced me. But I'll let you know what the discussion is going to be about beforehand, so that you can, start thinking about it. 1 second. I have to log into the old Steam account. 9CF. Why did I read that out loud? I shouldn't do that. Okay. It's free on Steam if we don't get to it today and you don't want to wait. Yeah, it's true. It is free. It is free. Oh, Death's Door's on sale. Oh, and another new game came out that I wanted to grab too. Weird West. Oh. I'm pretty excited about that. Weird West. Yeah, I've had my eyes on this game for a while. Because it has, like, Dishonored and Prey developers on it, and those guys are really good at the like immersive sim systems. And yeah. Yep. And it's published by Devolver, which I've liked most of their games, so yeah. We'll probably get it. But anyway, let's grab the game. Let's grab the game. If on a winner's night for Travelers. Click the play button. Click the play button again. And then we turn off. Hello, Dream Cartographer. This. Oops. We move me over here. I swear I'd come up with like a really fancy way of doing this. I'm way too big. I am huge in the window. I am just gargantuan. Why am I so big? There we go. That's a little bit better. Okay, everybody hear the music? Looks like it's peaking. Also, how's the computer feeling? Did anybody notice a difference? Because when it's a bit loud. Because when I went back to review my, when I went back to review my personal audio from the last stream, I was like flabbergasted. I couldn't believe how bad it sounded. It's like me in the game, and then just there's a fucking swamp boat fan. Oh no, did my webcam die? Oh, it died in like the worst possible facial expression ever too. Wow. Oh, that's just terrible. Why did my webcam die? God damn it. Okay, I don't know what happened there. Ah, wrong button. Why am I having so many user error things today? Weird. Let's see. But yeah, I went back and listened to the audio from the previous stream I did, and it was just unlistenable. I don't know how you guys watched it. There's a Swamp Boat fan behind me, and like everything's so loud. My microphone is peaking. It was awful. Okay. So my audio is good. I can probably come up just a little bit. Wrong thing. These are not things I was expecting to happen today. Okay. Okay. Are we balanced? You had to infer the narrative. You just inferred it? Okay. I think we actually infer a narrative more often than we realize sometimes, though. Which is part of the reason why I think Hidetaka Miyazaki is such a genius. Okay, so this is gone. All right, webcam's not dead. Everything's going. The audio seems balanced, if that's what you mean. Excellent, thank you. It is exactly what I meant. Okay, so if we remember where we left off last week, we are now with, her name was Witherbloom. She is the second character. Have I been sleeping? It's dark. Mirror. No. No to the mirror. Okay, remember that. That's important. No. That's all she says. That's a really powerful line. Like, imagine reading that in a short fiction, right? Like, the woman, just as a quick thing, the woman woke up from a sleep that she didn't remember going into. She looked to the mirror and said no, and then, went on with her exploration of the room. Like, it's a very strong thing to say. No light, it hurts. So we're getting a shitload of characterization. Glass decanter with laudanum. My medicine keeps the nightmares at bay, but there's not much left. Draped cloth. If I close my eyes, I can almost hear. This is just straight depression. The audio seems powerful because of all the interference we have to make. Yeah. Yeah, right. It's very powerful. Did there used to be faces here? Picture frames. Great line. Great line. Did there used to be faces here? I think I probably would have gone with were there, but the effect is still good. Shh, quiet now. To the hanging cloths, she says this. How long has it been raining? What day is it? Armoire. These are for tomorrow. Is it tomorrow yet? To outside, but it is yesterday. I cannot go outside when it is yesterday. Ball of yarn. Oh, it's Lord Socks' ball of yarn. Lord Socks. Not Captain Socks. Did hear faces used to there be? He always brings it with him when he sneaks around. Maybe he got caught outside in the rain. It's hard to see anything from here. Yes? So we're pixel hunting? Is there something I missed? Okay, she doesn't want to do those things. What about this window? Will she look out this window? Lord Socks, even the implied existence of a cat makes me happy. Yeah. Maybe the servants have seen him? Okay, so we're worried about a cat. That's the desire for the scene. Now we can leave. It is probably chilly out in the hallway. I should cover up just in case. Okay, so armor, presumably. But you see how, like, they set up this whole thing where we can't help but get to know this character. I'm just tired. I haven't slept well. we can't help but get to know this character just by the fact that we have to click around to learn more about it. But it's that concision, right? It's the concise lines that don't make this frustrating. I really like that. And like when Rinzai streamed in the Discord, when he streamed the Monkey Island, Escape from Monkey Island, you know, I obviously got similar vibes because that's kind of how those games work, but very different, right? Like the idea of adventure, curse. The idea of adventure and kind of like silliness permeates the entire game. And I don't mean silliness as derogatory, I mean it in a good way. But the kind of building the characterization into the things that you naturally have to click in order to progress the gameplay seems like a pretty interesting thing to do. And I also just really like the way that they did it in this one. So I was supposed to put on clothes. I'll get changed later, yes, or tomorrow. I'm just so tired right now. Yes, but the cat. It's probably chilly out in the hallway. I should cover up with it just in case. I almost hear. So are we meant to be... Shh, she says to the hanging cloth. Lamp, no light, it hurts. Can we cover up with the ball of yarn maybe? Window, hanging cloth. Is there like a sequence? Yeah, I know you use silly to mean epic and grandiose. I mean, in a way, kind of, right? Like, there's many Pixar films that ride this line of like silly seriousness, and I think it's one of the most brilliant things that they do as a media maker, as a filmmaker. As filmmakers, I'm amazed at what they do, that they can ride this line of like fable with real world application, but it's for kids. It's like this. It's incredible to me that they can do that. Okay, I'm getting a little confused. I meant to cover up, but like she refuses to interact with anything. Don't forget Yumi Nikki too. No words as well. Yeah, definitely. But first my medicine. Oh my god, did I finally get her to... There's so little left. Why hasn't the maid replenished it yet? Okay, so there was just a certain amount of clicks that I was supposed to do before she did this. What the hell is that? Envelope. A letter from Lord Cavendish? What could he possibly want? Okay. Oh, sorry for your loss. My most sincere condolences. What? Is this a joke? Has my husband seen this? Oh, she was looking for a husband on the train. Did the maid bring this? Where is she? She rips it up. And then she walks out. Okay, we're going to pause it real quick. And I'm going to turn the audio down. Because there's something I wanted to note in that first area, which I don't know if it's true, but if it is true, it's very interesting. So... I was meant to just kind of like, it felt to me like I was meant to just kind of click around, and then she would, she had these refrains of like, oh, no, I can't do it. I don't want to take my pills. There's not that many. Why was I over at the armoire? I didn't know why I wanted to be here. Where's that cat? Is it today or is it yesterday? So like the whole sense that I got was like this deep confusion, right? She has no idea if it's yesterday, which is a very strange thing to not know. It's paradoxically strange. So she doesn't know whether it's today or yesterday. She doesn't know why she's doing anything she's doing. All she knows is that she requires sensory deprivation and she needs to find her cat. And everything that I was doing in order to progress that wasn't working. And so it generated this idea of confusion, um, and hunting and kind of drugs, honestly. Like when you take psychedelics, for example, there can be times in which, well, and when you smoke weed and shit like that too, but there can be times in which you are standing there and there are like five things that you know about your reality, which is like there are socks on the ground, your bed is behind you, and your door is open, and you want to go on a walk. And so, but you're confused, and so you keep picking up the socks and going, what were these for? What were they for? And then you put them on, and then you're like, oh, these are really, really uncomfortable. And then 20 minutes later, you realize that you wanted to change your socks so that you could go outside and walk around, right? Now, I think that this is a very strong indication of that, because that's exactly the vibe that I got from her, is that she knows about five things in reality currently. She doesn't have a lot of drugs left, and she has a goal, but she doesn't know how to achieve it. And so in order to drive that home for the player, they make you click around and be confused with her, right? I think that's brilliant. If that is in fact what they were doing, which it really felt like that's what they were doing. She seems really confused, like she's in shock. Yeah, absolutely. Shock's a hell of a drug. The woman who was yesterday. Yeah, that sounds like a Doctor Who episode. But Dylan, what is the meaning of socks, man? Well, it's a good question. There's an entire short story. It's a brilliant short story, and it's called The Sock. And you should read it, because it's about it's about a group of people. I won't spoil it, but it's about people. But the true meaning of the story is in the sock. And I'm not fucking around. It's just type in The Sock short story and you'll find it. But I saw something from Dream Cartographer a little bit ago about Pixar films, and that it was the fantastical realms with the emotion grounded in reality. And I think that's an astute way to put it. The player confusion works without being frustrating. Yeah, since it's not like you're wandering around a huge area with tons of complex things to do. Yeah, exactly. It's like I have 7 things to click on, and none of them were working. So I thought, oh, what if I tried in an order, and that didn't work? And then it was like, okay, he clicked 100 times in the scene, so now it's time for the thing to move on, which I think is great. Because don't waste my time. Don't make me run from one area to another and spend 35 hours trying to figure out to drum up the idea of me being lost. You don't need to do that. Unless there is a very good reason for it, like in a more grandiose scale. But she's very confused about a very specific thing. She's very much shocked. It must be a stocking then, the sock, because the stocking is bigger. No, it's just a sock. It shows you how a dusty vase. It shows you how much an objective correlative can carry a story. Hanging cloth. I can't remember. Some fading memory. Something not quite there. The housemaid should be here in her chambers. I'm kind of imagining her eyes traveling down the hallway. What is this? I hear voices. She's not alone. I think there's a man in there with her. Probably Mr. Winterbourne, or whatever his name was. The door's too thick. I can't make out what they're saying. I need to find a way to listen to what they're saying. Disturb the shadows? Window. It feels like it's inside my head. Well, I'm pretty sure however I listen to them is going to be back in the bedroom. No, because the gift is in the sock. Oh, okay. I figured maybe because they shared a wall or something that I'd be able to hear it. strange chapter. I didn't see anything that could do that, right? Did anybody else? Because I didn't see a way to listen in. This is something I do wonder about a little bit, though. Like, because games require the player to solve whatever puzzle it's asking of them, but like a happenstance conversation doesn't really jive with the idea. Oh, I can just walk over here. Okay, I'm an idiot. It doesn't really jive with the idea of like a bumbling fool named Dylan trying to figure out, you know, clicking on fucking everything. It's the same thing with Cyberpunk 2077. I should check the Mage Chamber first. Yeah, I know. But how? It's too dark. It's too dark. Where, like, at the beginning of Cyberpunk 2077, they're like, you have 2 weeks to live. And then you go on to, and you're like, well, I'm going to keep making money on the streets. And I liked that game, but it was weird. That was one thing that just really stuck out to me in that game. And that I hated the main character. Is there an inventory? Okay. Please ignore that my face just lit up and that I'm not looking toward my computer monitor. Do. I'm not doing anything. What? Ornate glass. Oh my god, it really is pixel hunting. So this music sounds like it was influenced by Jan Tiersen of Amelie fame? Okay. Amelie. Ah, perfect. Not since the conservatory incident. What about the laudanum consumption, or her laudanum consumption? Has it decreased at all? For her? No, but she mustn't have much left. I haven't refilled her decanter in several days. And I've hidden the rest in the cabinet downstairs. This is Eric Sadie. Oh, Squishbuff Dave, welcome. And this cabinet is locked? It is. The glass is thick and the lock strong. It is vital that she doesn't find the key. She needs to regain her composure and her health. More letters are arriving, and rumors abound. Gasp! The display cabinet in the parlor. How dare they keep the key from me? I should burst into that room right now. But I will deal with that tomorrow. I think I will have my medicine now. And Lady Witherbloom or something marches straight back to her room to take her medicine and go to the sleep. Yeah, I'll take care of that tomorrow. Yesterday. I'll take care of that tomorrow. Drink some laudanum. That was interesting. Sleep is for the sick and the feeble. What shall I do today? I could play my harp for a bit. And maybe afterwards tea in the conservatory with a good book. It is not dark yet. I don't need to turn on a lamp. It is so warm outside, I don't need anything else. Let's play the harp. Yeah, that was a hell of an effect. That was very impressive. I love the detail in the pixel art. Like how she lightly lifts her dress to sit down and stuff. Like, it's so pretty. It was like Cinderella. The weather has indeed changed. So if this is Eric Sadie, and let's say I knew who that was, what would I say to tell other people what he's made? Because I know. And I know what to say, but I'm curious what you guys think I should say to tell people that this is Eric Sadie. Her bed is made, the hanging cloth is gone. Yeah, right. Like the whole thing changed. She took the laudanum and then like a portal opened up and the entire world was bright and colorful again. I actually don't know if she went to sleep or if she's high. Impressionism. That's Eric Sadie. French Impressionism. Oh, okay. Oh, wow, what? What did something happen? Did I miss something? Because I was smoking? Oh, I should click on the socks thing. He should be here anytime now. If I catch him just when she plays the Sadie. When he's arriving, I can usually see his automobile from here. There's a cat hair all over the carpet, as per usual. Ah! Henry protested at first about including Laura's socks in the portrait. But if I am a Winterborn, then so is he. Picture frames. Some family pictures. These three over here are my favorites. Maman and I in Paris, February 1923. Maman and I in Vienna, 1926. Maman and I in New York, October 20, 1925. I remember I found some great records for my gramophone on these trips. Listening to them always brings back the most delightful memories. What a lovely day. Okay, so we will go out. I hope Henri won't lock himself up in the study when he gets back. Because of his business trips, we barely get any time together lately. Okay, so that's it. Painting. I don't think she's French. I think her husband is French. Dear Grandpapa Beauvoisin. Maybe she is French. He believed in me when nobody else did. Maybe she is French. It's just Winterborn doesn't sound French to me. But I guess maybe her husband, I don't know. Is out, and that there's nothing exciting as photography these days. She said Maman, though. Okay, yeah, fair enough. I cannot say I disagree, but it is so lovely to think of them here on the walls like old-fashioned aristocrats. My little cousins from Amiens. I miss them so much. Yeah, so she must be French, and then she married a British guy, because Winterborn is, like, very British. No? The catalog from the auction in which the vase was acquired. This beautiful Murano glass is a souvenir from our honeymoon in Venice. Just a personal trifle next to the family's treasures, of course, but very dear to me nonetheless. It's interesting that we're kind of getting a re-go around on the objects of the first go-through, you know? Oh, what did she say? We should make a picnic in the garden, okay. Dun, dun. Grandma Winterbourne. I knew in her last years of her life a remarkable woman. Grandpa Winterbourne. I never met him, and from what I know, all for the better. I reckon he was old-fashioned when it came to crossing class boundaries. So he's Henry. Yeah, I thought he was Henri. Oh, I feel dizzy. Why was I going downstairs anyway? I'm not sure now. Was I not going back to my room? No, you were going downstairs. But I guess we go back to the room. I don't know what's wrong. I feel so weak. It's empty. I'll get more tomorrow from the cabinet in the parlor. No, that hurts. So can she go to sleep now? Or... They ran out of color money just then, yeah. Her hair is down now. This reminds me of a James Joyce short story. Another letter. I can't remember the name. It's in Dubliners. They probably blew the whole budget on paying these wonderful pixel artists here, right? Yeah, it's from Dubliners. It might be The Dead, but it's about the woman in the house, and she has a sister, and the house is filled with dusty cretonne, and she meets the man from Buenos Aires, and you know, it's like this amazing, because she's like living in this apartment of dust, and then she meets this man from literally fresh air. And it's a really awesome short story. I wonder if there's some kind of Jane Eyre type twist here. Yeah, it could be. I remember that, but I forget the title too. Yeah, I can't remember the title, but it's a very, very good short story. Lord Windsor now. What is this? Deepest condolences again. But there's more. I'm aware of the dire situation of the Winterbourne family. Rumors about that precious Ming vase, one of the few pieces not yet sold, surviving on your fortune alone. I believe that our union would be nothing but mutually beneficial. This is outrageous. What is this all about? I must find the housemaid. I demand an explanation. Besides, she has the key to the cabinet. God, I want to meet these people. I want to interview them. Did Lord Socks do this? I can't hear anything. Seems like the room is empty. Or maybe they're hiding from me, whispering in the dark. How dare they? I'm so furious. How dare they not open the door? Yeah, they said... I wonder if 1,000 tiny pieces will be as valuable as a whole vase. Putain de mare. Good. Some moldy old book. Traders, all of them. My medicine is all I need. Do I go down to the parlor now? Can I do that now? I think it was the third one. Oh, in Dubliners. Okay. I think I already read that once. I can't remember. Yeah, I don't believe that this is going to have the same ending as the James Joyce short story. Dead flowers. There used to be flowers here. I imagine that. So there's two things I'm kind of looking at right now. It's either her husband died and she's in like this kind of ultra spiral depression mode, or her husband has been tricking her into taking laudanum. My medicine should be in the cabinet. There it is, hidden at the back among the glasses, but I don't have the key and I have no idea where the maid is. Well, I'll smash the bloody thing open if I need to. Okay, now we gotta find a thing that can smash open a rest, maybe later. We have to find something that can smash open glass. Or the alien and ghost are doing it. Yeah, probably. Only ash. This is not the fire I seek. Fire pokers. Yeah. That's what I was looking for. Fire pokers tend to make things happen in scenes. This will work. By the way, second scene in a row in which glass shatters. Dun, 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 dun. Glass inside glass, to be admired from afar and not touched. What a sad fate. Flowers. The smell of fresh flowers in the morning is one of life's subtlest pleasures. Fireplace. A cat purring on your lap, the sound of logs crackling. No better way to spend those rainy English autumn afternoons. Okay, so we definitely got our answer. I mean, we had our answer. But I just wanted to say it again. Bookshelf. There are some interesting books here. The Prophet's Paradise. A treatise on clocks. Without fear of wind and vertigo. Treatise on clocks. One of those awfully boring technical books that Henry's dad liked to keep around. So she was admired from afar and not touched? That's possible. And now she's breaking that idea. Striking as they might look, decorative clocks such as those embedded within busts and statues lack precision and reliability. Such models exhibit an average delay of 7 minutes when referenced against a classic long case clock. I imagine that this text is about her as well. This is, of course, unacceptable. This is like the father's thoughts on her. Like, she's great to have around, but she's not very useful. Prophet's Paradise. Far afield, a woman cried, I have killed him I loved. I have killed him I loved. And from a jar she poured blood upon the flowers, whose petals are whiter than snow and whose hearts are pure gold. I don't know what that says. What is this? What is this book doing here? Okay, one more. Without fear of wind and vertigo. It's a great title. And so you see this novel so tightly interwoven with sensations suddenly riven by bottomless chasms, as if the claim to portray vital fullness revealed the void beneath. That sounds a lot like Italo Calvino. That'd be great if that actually was a quote. I'm not familiar with this author, Italian. It is Italo Calvino. I fucking knew it. Sounds very modern. Yeah! So, there we go. Reference 5 or whatever. It is a table clock in the shape of a bus. God, I love you guys. But it needs winding and the key is missing. Record player. My gramophone. You okay, dog? He's sleeping. I have so many memories attached to all these records, especially the one I brought back from my trips abroad with Mama. Which one shall I play first? Play Three Old Viennese Dancers by Fritz Keisler. Perigio Cara by Giuseppe Verdi. My New York by Mal Harriott and his orchestra. Three Old Viennese Dancers. Come on. Come on. Such a delicate piece. Okay, let's try the next one. Isn't it too dreamy? Is what a car? I hear a tenor. Dum da dee dum da dum. Oh, really? I didn't notice the car sound. Again, just like the pixel artwork is wild. Just the variety in the pixel art, like the animations, is crazy. But this is not the way it happened. My trips with my mom, I need to remember. I have never been too fond of this painting. It looks like father and son sitting next to each other. Just so solemn and joyless. Henry's taste can be so old-fashioned sometimes. Yeah, maybe it doesn't portray the family then. To hallway? Let's just go straight to bedroom. Because it feels like that's where the narrative keeps progressing. Book. My favorite bedside book. Proust's A la recherche du temps perdu. As soon as I read 2 pages, I start dozing off. Yeah? Oh, I look just fine. It's so warm outside, I don't need anything else. I haven't seen Lord Socks in a while. Okay, let's go to hallway, I guess. Yeah, that was my experience with Proust. Yeah, I mean, it's weird. I keep having this feeling that Henry's in his study, but I haven't heard his car arrive yet. Must be deja vu. Speaking of car, that vase, it feels like it shouldn't be there, and there's something else missing, but I can't remember what. The glass. It's the glass that's missing. A Sotheby's catalog. Maybe there was somewhere else I was supposed to go. Maybe there was like a door I missed or something? It's not always easy to see the door in the rooms. Aha. To foyer. If you're not looking for it, it can be a little hard to find the door. Yeah, we've all been there. It sounds like the servants are talking in the foyer, but I do not need anything from them right now, and I should not eavesdrop. It is rude. Yeah, but we listen to music. Let's listen to the second one again, because that was the one that she said had a car in it. Dream Cartographer said it had a car in it. I don't hear a car. I hear birds in the background. Why am I like stuck in all? Well, I have to play through all 3 of the songs. Scandalous. Are we in another number of clicks thing? Oh. It's so grating. What on earth was that? So something was wrong. Right now I feel a bit lightheaded. Something was wrong with that first record, which is a little weird. Pan statue. Oh, Jesus, I didn't even realize that these were here. My own personal pantheon. These figures have always been a huge inspiration to me. Pan? I just could not bring myself to leave them behind in France when I moved here. The plaque says Pan, Lord of all which is primal and untamed. Interesting. You inferred it. Mnemosyne and Eos. Pan. Wild. The plaque says Mnemosyne, goddess of memory and words. So, god of things untamable, goddess of words, and Eos, goddess of the dawn. Boy, oh boy. There's a lot of shit packed in there. Oh, I look just fine. Yeah, I am, in fact, feeling a bit indisposed, but something is not right here. Yeah, read the book. Do I need... Where is he? It's getting dark. My harp. Who did this? Oh, the harp. Yeah, it's covered. How dare thee? The shadow. It's wrong. It is slipping through my fingers. It's gone. But maybe I can sleep and dream of tomorrow. There's always music tomorrow. Dang it, I was sure I heard like a car pulling in outside. It's possible you did. I just maybe missed it, and it wasn't in the song, but it was in like the game. Okay, now she's a ghost. She's like a little translucent. God, what a fucking game this is. It's so wild. I dreamed that I was dreaming. I dreamed that it was dark, and it is dark now too. How useless. These hands were never meant for this. Where are you? She's becoming more honest. I'll show you Rome, Maman, I promise. Is it raining tomorrow? Very depressing. No light, it hurts. Okay, so that one hasn't changed. Is that another letter on the floor? Oh, there is a letter. I didn't see that. She just felt like being translucent that day. That's true. There's a letter. I need my medicine. She didn't do anything with the letter. She just picked it up. All that cat hair. It's all over the place. Oh, this is so sad. On and on until the whole world is drowned. Some moldy old book. Fragments of a vase. Did the maiden knock it over while cleaning? Cracked glass. Did Lord Socks say this? I don't need them anymore. My medicine is downstairs. Oh, so... all the things she cares about are covered in fucking sheets and shit. And the only thing she cares about is taking medicine. On and on. Shadow. Just a shadow. Wait, what does this one say? A deep, terrifying roar. What was it again? It was the god of all things untamable. What was the second one? It was Mnemosyne. Goddess of something. Fuck. And then the last one was Eos. A cold, watery grave. It was Pan, Mnemosyne, and then Eos. Yeah, what is Mnemosyne? Words and memory. Shadow, just a shadow. Ah, okay. I thought the text would reflect more what those are. I mean, maybe they do, and I'm just missing it, but... Mnemonic. Oh, yeah. True. Crazy. Display case. You march right on over there. Oh, I should have clicked on the records first. Ah, it's still there. Wait, don't drink it yet. I forgot to click on the fucking thing. Oh, a letter came with her. The letter came with her. It is a letter from Lord Fitzroy. He is a friend of Henry's, if I remember correctly. Hope this letter finds you well. Wish to offer my most profound condolences. What? I dream of holding your hand. Yes, a man can dream. Oh, to walk with you in the lushness of your beautiful conservatory. Is this a marriage proposal? Is this real, or did somebody put opium tincture in my morning tea? This has to be a prank. Nobody in their right mind would dare send something like this. I must find the housemaid, provided this isn't some lark of hers. She should know who delivered this. I recall I heard her earlier in the foyer. To the foyer! It doesn't look like the maid is here. Oh, but she is. But I heard voices. Clock key. Let's go ahead and take that clock key. It seems to be stopped. The hands are stuck at 3 o'clock. But maybe I can try winding it up with this key. Ugh. It is too tall. I cannot reach the winding hole. 3 o'clock it is then. Distorted music, yeah. Newspaper. Oh, it's an issue of Paris Soir that featured our wedding. Now there are reverse sounds. This is practically a Braid reference, yeah. Many were shocked today upon learning of the engagement of the extravagant heiress of the Beauvoisie jewelry empire. Ghost? Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's her. Mademoiselle Vallée, blah, blah, blah. To Henry Winterbourne, Lord Winterbourne of Chettam Green. Layered music is very cool. Yeah, it is. In a move seen as uncharacteristic for the socialite whose friendships with avant-garde artists such as Germaine Dulac and Fernand Léger are well known. She declared her intention to move to the family manor in Wiltshire, England, leaving behind a life of glamour in Paris for Britain's green pastures. Despite the loud rumors regarding the ruinous financial situation of the Winterbourne family, the heiress insists that this is a marriage of love, and that moving to the calm of the countryside will be a welcome change for her after the frantic activity of the last few years. Oh, I do love it here so much. Doesn't sound like it. Main door. I'm not dressed to go outside. My umbrella is here, but Henry's is missing. He must have taken it with him. To the conservatory. Oh, I do wish to read that article just once more. I could read this over and over. Many were shocked today upon learning of the engagement of the extravagant, arrogant, blah, blah, Madame to Winterbourne. Music gets wild. Germaine Dulac and Fernand, same sentence. Same sentence. Same sentence. And same sentence. It's crazy that I can't interact with that. Okay, we have to read the article again. I think I can just click through it though. Oh. Avant-garde artist Julien Delac, life of glamour in Paris, Winterbourne family, heiress and marriage of love, and the moving to the calm change for her after frantic activity the last few years. Oh, I do love it here so much. Okay, cannot. Okay, well, I couldn't go to the conservatory. The glass is broken now. That's new. What happened here, and why is nobody taking care of this mess? I'm afraid to click on the record player. Fire pokers. One of the fire pokers is missing. So it's kind of like a... Oh, do I have to click through all of them again? Oh, no, I don't. This game is kind of reminding me of like a short story cycle, like Winesburg, Ohio. I don't know if anybody's read that novel, that book. It's like the past and present are blending. Yeah, exactly. I don't really have anything to do upstairs. Yeah, but I don't really feel like listening to music right now. What happened? Flowers. winding key from the standing clock should fit here. Perfect. I can wind the clock now. What time shall I set? Fuck. No. What? Oh no, can I back up? Okay, it's too late. I thought maybe I would be able to delete. Does anybody remember a reference to time? 12:34? Oh, you fucker. Does anybody remember any other reference to time? Oh. Okay, we're good. We'll just set it to 12. I don't know what I was expecting. There has got to be a reference to time, and there's a correct time to put in. Oh, 3, right? No, she already said 3. Read the book again. Okay. Oh, fuck, you're right. The clock book. The Treaty on Clocks. Or was it a different book? Decorative clocks such as those embedded with busts or statues lack precision and reliability. Such models exhibit an average delay of 7 minutes when referenced against a classic lawn case clock. This is, of course, unacceptable. Well, of course, unacceptable. Okay, so if it's a 7-minute delay and it's 3, that means I need to put in 2:47? No, 2:53. The dramatic irony in this game has been great, yeah. 13:53? Yeah, maybe. We are in Europe in this currently. 13:53. What? Okay, let's try 1:53. Oh shit. Damn it. Okay. 15:33 now. That's 1:53 p.m. Yeah, I know. I know what, yeah, 13:50. Yeah, I understand that. Oh, wait. Yeah, 14:53. 14:53. Not 13:53. Yeah, it is working again. The mechanism is ticking and the hands are moving. Yeah, my bad. Not one, yeah. And that is the grandfather clock. Is it working now too? Oh, it's not your fault. It was my fault. The clock is working again. The ghostie is gone, and I am not sure now. What was that? I was here browsing the afternoon papers. Lord Socks rushed in. The clock chimed. He ran into the conservatory. What had the little rascal done? I cannot remember. Oh, no matter. I'll come back to me. Now, about that Lord Fitzroy. There must be somebody in this house who can tell me what is going on. We're not going to read that again. We're just going to walk into the conservatory. Okay. She is completely alone. So many times I have sat on the bench and just let my mind wander. Oh, she's sitting on the bench, crying. I'm so lucky to have my very own Sancta Sanctorum pond. Water looks so serene. She's crying near the pond, in ghost form. Plants. There's like a strange duality, you know what I mean? Of like, did I see something move there? Where? No, not quite here, but there's a rustling of leaves somewhere. Camellias are so delicate with their snow-white petals and tiny golden hearts. Teachable Nevada. Must have been in my imagination. The game's deliberately railroading you, and thank God for it. There are way more rooms in this chapter, enough to get lost in. Yeah. Bushes. Yeah, I don't mind being railroaded as long as I'm having fun. My goodness, so many bugs. This needs a trim. Like, I still kind of feel like I'm making decisions. Is this a ficus? I don't know much about these plants. The azaleas look lovely, ta-da. What did she say? Oh. Shrubbery. Oh. She's looking. This foliage is so thick, a tiger could hide here. Why did she run there? I believe I have clicked the conservatory out of existence. Although I really want to know why she ran that way. See how she turns and sprints toward what looks like the bushes, and then she like says something and then sprints. But I don't see... There's like nothing here to see. I mean, maybe I walk through it and something changes, I don't know. But, no. Well, I believe I just go back to the foyer. It sounded like the clock was in sync with the music for a second. Then how do I talk to someone? Brittany is so out of place here, you're right. Fuck. Oh, what am I missing? One second while I look at something. It's something I never did very often back in Paris. It's something I did not so often. Possibly the best spot in the house. She falls down and cries. Maybe I'm over. In the conservatory, the pixels of the floor showing the dark shrubbery in the bottom left corner seem a bit too light. Like this right here. Yeah, I thought that as well. But I figured the word would change. Or are you referring to... No, that one doesn't... You can't click on that one. Examine the table and chairs, then the plants... I'm reading my own mind right now. Examine the table and chairs, then the plants between the yellow and white flower pots. Examine the table and chairs. Oh, okay. Duh. Okay, so... Then the plants between the yellow and white flower pots. Okay. Did I see something move there? Not quite here, but there was a rustling in the leaves somewhere. Just to make sure. The shrubbery. Ba ba ba. Run, run, run. Over there. I just figured out the puzzle on my own. It's no problem. There was something here stirring the leaves, and suddenly a blur, a chase, the clinking sound of porcelain. Porcelain. Must have been my imagination. No, did I fuck it up? Fucking Christ, I fucked it up. Fuck. There's a sequence you have to do. Guybrush hates porcelain. No, don't walk all the way back. Now I gotta walk all the way back. Okay, I'm back in the puzzle. Over there. If it were him, he wouldn't be able to go here because of the porcelain. Wait. I've never read a sentence like that before. There was something here stirring the leaves, and suddenly a blur chased the clinking sound of porcelain, which takes us back to the table of tea and chairs. Da-da-da-ba. She falls down. Yes. The memory. It's coming back to her. Here, a scream of pain, red streaks. Then knuckles white like snow, hands so cold, so cold. Then the pond. She cries by the pond. Oh dear, no. Okay, 1 second. I have to consult my mind. Okay. The water is no longer screaming. Then where is the sadness coming from? Interesting that they just made her eyes white to indicate like crying. It is stronger here. What is this sorrow? Why do I feel this way? This place is always so soothing to me. Or washes her hands in the pond. Yeah, right. Those sensations, they were so vivid and unsettling in the water. I could have sworn I felt. Wait, what is that? Seems there is something at the bottom of the pond. But I am not reaching into that filthy water with my bare hands. I need to find something to help me drag it out. Da-da-da. Okay. Oh no, the kitty? Oh no, really? Don't say that. Umbrella stand. This should work. Totally knew this. And then, wait. Okay. Wait, no, not the kitty. Maybe just the fire poker. Yeah, something is definitely bad in the pond. And what we know about this game is it's willing to actually shock you, which is kind of cool. Oh. Yeah, okay. My lord, my dear lord. What happened to you? Who did this? Yeah. Did nobody see anything? Where is everybody? No. Help. I must find help. For what? Called it. There has to be somebody here. There has to be. Can anybody? Kitty and then the cat wearing glasses. Newspaper. I don't understand. I left this on the table. Am I going mad? Yes, indeed you are. But this is not the Palais Soir. It's the London Evening Standard. Many were shocked today upon learning of the passing of Henry Winterbourne, Lord Winterbourne of Chettam Green, in a tragic automobile accident. I'm telling you, you heard the car, Dream Cartographer. As the car in which he was riding rolled up towards the driveway of the Winterbourne Manor, the family cat, which had been missing for days, dashed out onto the road in front of the vehicle. The chauffeur gave the driving wheel a sharp turn. No, 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 and the clock stopped right then. Henry, dead. This is absurd. He's here. He's upstairs. I was waiting for him to come home, but he never arrived because he was here the whole time. Of course, how silly of me. That's it. He must be in his study. He'll know what to do. He's in his study. He's upstairs. He'll know. I need to see him. I need to see him now. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, I figured he was dead too. That had to be the case. Now we got this weird in-between zone. This is awesome. This is so cool. What a great ending. It's got like anagnoresis, it's got great scene structure, it's got sublimity. Henry, are you there? Henry? Henry? What have they done to you? Why did they hide you from me? I've missed you so much, my love. Been away for a while. But I'm here now. Henry, I did something terrible. It wasn't his fault. He didn't deserve it. What did she do? But it hurt so much when you left. I had such dreams, such terrible dreams. But I found you now. And I'm never going to let them take you away from me again. I just need one more sip of my medicine. What's sublimity? I'll tell you in a sec. And then I'll come back for you. And take you home. We are going to Paris, my love. She did break the rule of saving the cat. That's true. She is no longer a sympathetic character. All the paintings are falling down? You would have understood. You would have forgiven. Amiens seems so far away now, flickering like a roll of film. Mom, Dad, I'm barely here anymore. What did I say I was going to go do? I forgot. Oh, medicine. Hopefully it's in the room. No more sleep, no more dreaming. Okay, the medicine's downstairs. So we're gonna go in here. And 2 of the busts have been revealed. A cold, watery grave. Swirling, yawning void. Leith statue. That's new. That changed. It wasn't Leith before. A swirling, yawning void. Fuck. A roaring primal scream. Leith. Thank you for looking that up, Rinzai. Yeah, so it's Hypnos, Leith, Lethe, Leith, and Pan again. But we don't need to look up Pan. Check the names again. It is Hypnos statue, a cold, watery grave. The Leith statue, a swirling, yawning void. And Pan, roaring primal scream, which was the same as last time. But I think all 3 of the texts were the same. I'm sorry for everything. That was a painting of Henry. Hypnos was a primordial deity in Greek mythology, the personification of sleep. A cold, watery grave. Yeah, okay, that's pretty brutal. Or if she drowns too, yeah, that's possible. In Greek mythology, the Leith was one of the 5 rivers of the underworld of Hades, also known as the Ameles Potamos River of Unmindfulness. The Leith flowed around the cave of Hypnos and through the underworld, where all those who drank from it experienced complete forgetfulness. Fuck me, okay. Swirling, yawning void. And then a roaring primal scream, and that is all of which cannot be tamed. That's quite on the nose. Yeah, I would say so. You inbred bastard. I think that was the father. Ugh. Envelope. Another one of those awful letters. No, it's an invitation to a masked ball. How delightful. I think she died a long time ago. Did Henry send this? Will he be there? I think we've been a ghost for quite a while. Oh, I hope so. What a surprise that would be. I think the first time we saw her come back as, like, transparent, she died in her sleep. It's so beautiful. Pop, pop. She vanishes. And that is the tale of Lady Winterbourne. Yeah, so she's dead there. And I was expecting Henry to meet me here, yet I can't seem to find him. Yeah, she probably did get a cat mask, yes. That looks like a cat to me. But he must be here. Who else could have sent that invitation? Interesting. I have been asking myself the same question, said a new man who came in. I'm sorry, and you are? She might have overdosed, very likely. My apologies. My name is Jordan Samuels. I am a doctor. A doctor. Your conversation caught my attention because I too cannot recall boarding this train or even waiting at any station. Given the weather outside, I reckon I must have surely brought a coat with me, yet there seems to be no cloakroom anywhere. I have attempted to bring this up with some of the other guests, but unlike you, they do not seem to be bothered by it. I cannot explain it, but I feel like we should not be here. What do you mean by that, Doctor? Where else do you reckon you should be? I'm not sure. You would even believe me if I told you, ma'am. I read that sentence very weirdly. Oh, don't you worry about that, dear. If you only knew how much these old eyes have seen. Okay, so we're about to go into his story. I doubt anything could surprise me at this point. Please, sir, I think we all wish to hear what you have to say. Oh, I for one most definitely do. Very well, I guess I should start at the beginning then. I had been working late into the night. Okay, this is where we're going to stop, by the way. The nameless ritual. I'm going to move on to the discussion I wanted to have. Yeah, fuck, but we have to get through this early part. And through this incision here, we can observe that the pancreas shows signs of inflammation. This tells us that the patient likely suffered from Dr. Samuels? Gallstones. That's what I did. This is so cool. This game is amazing. Alcoholism, cystadenoma. Cystadenoma. The story. Yeah, right. Yeah, the story. I love the story. I'm going to go with gallstones because that's what I suffered from. And I had to have that organ ripped out of my body, and I've never looked back. Well, this surely indicates that. Excuse me, Dr. Hayward. Yes, Mr. Lowell. Why are you talking to the janitor? Ha 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 ha. Now, boys, calm down. Dr. Samuels, you were saying? Gallstones. Yes, from the first glance, we can infer that he doesn't look like a doctor to me. There's some racism that's going to happen in this story. More like a hoodlum. Keep an eye on the scalpels, Dr. Hayward. We don't want him to stick us up. Jesus. He could rob us blind and disappear in the shadows. Fuck you. Oh, this is awful. I'll bet he's stealing material from the infirmary. Jesus fucking Christ. Yes, to sell it to whatever criminal element he's in cahoots with. I mean, this is like beyond racism. Is there some kind of back thing? Check his pockets, Dr. Hayward. Some supplies have, in fact, gone missing lately. See? I knew it. Let's search him. Somebody hold him. Yeah, he's black. With every day of fasting, I have felt my will slipping further and further. But today marks the 33rd day. Tonight I can complete the ritual. I must carry out the final preparations. There is no time to lose. Yeah, let the man answer. I must carry out those buffoons. Soon they will know what I am really capable of. Okay, now we're gonna stop because I want to do this next week because this game is fucking awesome, and we're probably not too far from beating it. From what I understand, it's really only like a 2-hour game, but that's if you're kind of speeding it. Like, and I'm definitely not. So, yeah, let's save it. Let's save it again. Okay, so that was cool. This game is great. No, I mean, I love it. I think it's brilliant. I love the writing. I love it so much. Oh, but I wanted to explain what sublimity was. So, 1 second. Let's turn the image back on. Let's put me back in the middle. Not that that really matters, but whatever. And that way y'all can see Brittany a little more clearly behind me. What was I going to say? Oh, sublimity. Okay, so sublimity in narrative is a moment in which the best way that I heard it described, huge surprise, was from Pinckney. So what Pinckney said was that a moment of sublimity in narrative is one in which what you are expecting to happen and simultaneously hoping won't happen happens in a story, right? So you know that she did something bad, right? You know that something bad happened, and you can feel the moment approaching as she's walking around the house, and as we're starting to put together the more and more clues, and we're starting to realize what exactly is going on with this character. Is really hard to do. Sublimity is really hard to do effectively, and one of the ways that Pinckney told us to employ sublimity is by doing anagnoresis, because a well-constructed anagnoresis will generate sublimity. Yeah, like the looming oh no moment. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like the, oh God, please don't let it be true. Please don't let it be true. But I hope it's true, right? Because then the story is nuts. And that is sublimity in storytelling. That's like the sublime, the perfect moment in story because it's so memorable. And you can almost remember all of the moments in films and books and all of these things that you've experienced in narrative have a moment of sublimity. Yeah, so that's why anagnoresis is one really good way of doing it. And so the anagnoresis was great in my opinion. Even though we were all kind of aware of what was gonna, like, most of us were probably thinking like, okay, yeah, the guy's probably dead, or like she's dead, or he killed her, or like somebody's dead. We knew somebody was dead, right? And that as we were putting it together, it was like there's all these clues, we kind of know what's happening, and then as we're approaching the office of Henry Winterbourne, we're like, oh God, here it comes, right? Yeah, it was great. That was just awesome. But I don't know which one was better. Was the first one better or the second one? And then Kitty, no, yeah, I think the first narrative was more shocking because I wasn't expecting that. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't expecting the writing to be so strong. She killed the cat, yeah. I wasn't expecting the writing to be so strong when I first jumped into the first game, or the first story. And then I also didn't think that they would go there with the characters, because I'm just not used to that kind of thing in games. Like, I'm not used to, a murder-suicide over like forbidden gay love in the 1920s. Like, that's not something I'm particularly used to in game narratives. So yeah, so that in that one I was like, wow, what the fuck, when he pushed him into the glass, and he falls down, and yeah, it's brutal, it's crazy. So I guess that one kind of really, I think that one will end up sticking with me more, but I think that the story in the second one might be a little bit better constructed, because there's just so much in there. There's like so many little things, like changing statues, Greek gods, the history and present, ghosts and cats and objects and objective correlatives all over the place, reference to Italo Calvino, a whole thing that was a puzzle for a clock, but also an objective correlative of the father's opinion, or at least I think, the father's opinion of the woman. I mean, it was a very dense second story. So I think it was probably I don't know, a better story, but I think that the first story will for me be more memorable. A lot of it felt like modern writing, but set in the past. Yeah. Why do you say that? I don't know how any writing could feel like. I don't know how any writing could feel like past writing. Like I don't know how anybody who's writing something now could make it feel like past writing. Does that make sense? Like if I sat down and I'm like, I'm gonna write like a romantic, people would be like, that's a guy that's like writing like a romantic. That's a modern guy trying to write like a romantic. Does that make sense? I could be wrong. I'm curious as to like what made you what to expound on that. It felt like I could imagine the script being written in modern and then substituted with elements from the period. Yeah, maybe, but I don't think that that's. Do you take that to be like a negative or just another style you can emulate? Yeah, right. Yeah. I think it would be a a pain in the ass to try and write romantic, because it's just so flowery. It's so like involved. The prose is it's not for me. But I don't think that like even if I was an absolute expert at that type of language, I don't think I could do it and make it sound correct. It's the main trend. Well, okay, so there is definitely something you're saying there, which I find interesting. Um, but I mean that, but also I don't think that that should keep people from writing in different time periods. Like I don't think that there's any reason that to me is not a reason to not write in the 1920s because you will be unable to make it sound like an authentic 1920s novel. Does that make sense? But I do think that there is something a little there is a truth that I agree with in what you're saying, which is there is a trend, and I find it very odd, but there is a trend of a lot of writers, especially like the ones in my MFA, who they would write their fiction as though it took place in the present day, but nobody had any cell phones. And that was always super weird to me. Like people were walking around and it was like, I have to go home and check my answering machine in 2022. It was the fucking weirdest thing ever. It was like, you have a phone. That phones do not show up in any of their modern day stories. It was so strange. It was so weird. So they wanted to write in this nebulous zone of like 1988 and 2004, and like this is where everybody lived. It was very strange. It follows a very modern storytelling trope and themes. Yeah, I mean, at least that they went for it and actually said it in 1925, right? Like they said in the newspaper, like it is 1925. That I can appreciate. I'm okay with this, right? What I don't like is I really, really don't like the version of like, yeah, I'm gonna get in my I don't know what I drove my Kia Soul to Walmart, and at no point did I open my phone. Didn't check Twitter. I didn't look at my email. I didn't get a notification. I didn't get a text. I didn't get a call. I didn't, like none of these things happened on my phone. And then I drove home and I didn't call my wife who is divorcing me. I didn't call her on my phone. I didn't go to her Facebook, but I drove my Kia and then I went to Starbucks and then I went and bought a bottle of trendy like alcohol at a distillery in the center of the city. Like that is so strange to me to write in the present day and then not have present day shit in it. You know, it's like you don't want to examine the phone. You don't want to examine the all of it. You just want to examine like the things that you want to talk about, because your hero writers didn't write about phones because they were in the 1950s and 40s and 70s and whatever. But yeah, so in that sense, I do agree with it. It's like, imagine if you wanted to write a TV crime drama, but the studio said, by the way, it all has to be set in 1812. Okay, time to ad-lib. It reflects the sentiments of the present, but set in the past. Yeah, I think that's largely unavoidable, though. And I don't think there's anything innately wrong with writing historical fiction. And I don't think that there's anything innately wrong with not being able to do it. To the same level of clarity as a writer who lived in that time. Because what you also find when you go back and read a lot of the fiction of that time was that they're talking about the same shit. I mean, in A Sun Also Rises, Hemingway's like, I can't get boners. And that's exactly what all the MFAs wrote about in my master's degree. I've noticed this in comedy. For example, when people do infomercial skills, they're imitating SNL infomercial skills from the 80s, not what actual modern infomercials are like. Yeah. Infomercials these days are YouTube sponsorships, I guess. Polar opposite. Star Wars is a classic story set in a futuristic setting. Well, every story is a classic story. That's unavoidable. That is really interesting. I'm going to notice that from now on. That is an interesting point. Yeah, the infomercial thing. The sun also rises, but not everything else rises. Yeah, I mean, nothing ever fucking changes in stories. It's been the same since the Greeks. Like, that's what I've been trying to say for the whole time I've done this. It's like nothing's ever the same, or everything is the fucking same. Everything. They had the same fears. Turns out both of us are human. The Greeks and us are both human. And we had the same fears and the same joys and the same, we cared about the same shit. Yeah, different periods have different cultures, sure, but it's still most of it is still the same core tenets of culture. It's like, don't kill people. Hopefully you can get married one day, and be nice to your kids and animals. Like it's the same shit. It's the same shit. Sometimes it gets different coats, and they sacrifice goats to the gods, and yeah, sometimes that shit's in there too. But like, I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about this, because I do think that there's nothing wrong with wanting to write a story set in 1925 and then throwing in some ghosty, like, kind of more modern takes on things. I think that's fine. That doesn't bother me at all. Like, The Godfather. The Godfather was written by Mario Puzo, and then the film came out in like 1970. It's about 1920s mobsters. Not a single thing of it is accurate, but we look at it as though it is canon, and we don't care. We don't care that it's not. That at no point were the Corleone family and the Strachey and it never crossed our minds that film is not good. Right, or that it's doing something inappropriate by writing about a historical time period at a later time period from the lens of a later time period. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing even not even remotely authentic about The Godfather. Because it's like a 1970s movie. About 1920 fake New York. Sounds like you'd have to do an intense amount of research to get an authentic period piece to the point where it'd be easier to write nonfic. Yeah, probably. But again, I don't think that this precludes people from trying. That's kind of the main point I'm trying to make, is that, like, Do I think that that story was worse because it was written in present day and it was set in 1925? Do I think it? No. Do I think it would be better if it were set in present day and it was a girl, like an Instagram influencer, and her, I don't know, her rich, like Rothschild born husband who died in a, I don't know, in a yacht accident while shooting a reality television show? And she didn't know about it because she accidentally drowned their, like, flying squirrel or whatever is a popular pet now. Like, I don't think that that's a better story innately because it uses modern reference points. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't. I don't believe that that would make a better story innately. You know, it could be a better story if it were better written, but I don't know if it would be. Um, so yeah, that's kind of the spiel. And all told, I think the mechanics of that story were very good. I thought it was very well told. Um, but unless anybody else has something to say about that, I'm going to move on to the thing I was intending to talk about. But we might not have that much time. So 1 second. I'm just trying to see if I want to push this off until next week. I think we're okay. If anybody else has okay the thing, what does that mean? I'm gonna mute myself for a second. I'm assuming that the thing means. No, my thing. Okay. Yeah. The thing I've forgotten to tell you about like 6 times since I've started streaming. Um, John Carpenter's The Thing is okay. I love that movie. I love that movie. I think it's great. Although I did go back and watch it again recently, and it didn't hit me quite as hard as the first time I watched it. I don't know why though. It just didn't quite grab me. Anyway, um, so The Thing. Okay, so in my endless pursuit of like wanting to be a writer or something, I'm always a sucker for exactly. That's what I loved about it, is the practical effects. I love the like when the head turns into a spider. Oh, it's just it gets me every time. I love it. um, okay, so I had this idea a long time ago, and it came from wanting to read fiction that was like Bloodborne, right? Like I'd been playing Bloodborne. I'd been looking into how Bloodborne works as a narrative, and I was very fascinated by it, and I thought it was really really cool. Um, I loved Yharnam and the city and how like exaggerated and huge it looks, and like all these giant buildings that are like turning over, and there's these like creepy monsters in it, and you never can quite see what any face looks like in the game because they're all like this Lovecraftian horror, and I've read Lovecraft, so I mean I understand that they're making direct and very 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 on the nose references to Lovecraft. But the thing that I find interesting about it is that there isn't any fiction quite like it. There isn't really an action adventure fantasy novel set in something quite like it. It's like you have like epic fantasy, and then you have like action fantasy, and action fantasy is almost exclusively, from my experience, written in first person, which I don't like. I don't like first person narrative just in general. It's not my taste. It's not a thing I enjoy. I am fine with it sometimes. Like I said, I really like Sun Also Rises. That's a first person novel. I'm not saying first person is bad, but I wanted to read a third person novel in which I can zoom in and out of the action, the present action, and I can watch it happen. The only thing I can really find that is consistently kind of like an action based fantasy setting series of stories is the Witcher books. So you know what I mean. There's nothing quite like it. When you say that, what are you referencing though? There's nothing quite like reading a book from that time period, or are you referencing something else? Because yes, I mean there is nothing quite like it. There is nothing quite like playing Bloodborne, right? But if I could get like 80% of the way there, I think I'd be happy. It's particular, not universal. What's particular, not universal? What is it? This is my question. Okay. Um, okay, go on. Okay. so, um, so I want as I've been diving into this and I've been trying to figure this out and I've been trying to understand this. One of the things that I have come to realize about From Software games is that they don't have a story, but they do. By removing the story from their games, they don't, or yeah, they have a story, right? How do they do that? Well, here's my theory. You are the hero in every From Software game, right? You are the chosen one, basically. For all intents and purposes, you are the chosen one, you are the hero, you are the, right. And how they dole this information out to you as narrative is they make you go through emergent storytelling, kind of, but it's almost like it's a little bit different because the emergent storytelling comes from they're very particular in the way that they construct their worlds, right? So for example, in all From Software games, they explain why when you die you come back. That's something that most games don't do. When you die in most games, you zip back in time and you're suddenly alive again and there's no explanation for it. But in all of the From Software games, the reason, like in Elden Ring, for example, the most recent one, the reason why you don't die is because the rune of death has been stolen from the Elden Ring, which is why nobody dies, right? So there is a like a somewhat of a diegetic explanation for why the things in the game occur. And I find this really interesting because there is no way that they're doing this on accident, right? They probably do it because they think it's awesome, but also because that it does lend some credence to the narrative that they're telling, right? And so when they send you on a hero's journey, how do they do it? Because they do. They send you on a hero's journey. They start you from rags, right? Or they give you like a slight background, like the whatever knights from the whatever have come to the lands between to you are a tarnished and you're here to seek the power of the Elden Ring, and you don't really know what that means. You just know that you're supposed to do it. And so you're running around in this world and you're trying to figure out how to go about doing it. And the thing that is consistent about the From Software games is that like finding a narrative explanation for all your game's mechanics. Yeah, right. Um, exactly. But when you're reading a book, you aren't getting better. Like, okay, this isn't okay. When you're watching Star Wars, whatever. When you're watching Star Wars, you are not getting better at the Force and using a lightsaber and channeling the mystical essence of reality, right? You're not getting better at it, Dylan Cathartigan, Dream Cartographer, Squishy Puff Dave. You're not personally getting better at it. Luke is. You're watching Luke get better at it, right? And so what they understand is that when you transplant the narrative to a game, you are getting better at it? Okay, good. When you transplant the narrative to a game, the player has to get better at it because the character can't. If the character gets better at it, then it's not quite right. Like it's this weird thing that it's like this weird little cheat code that they figured out where like the player has to overcome the obstacles like Luke has to overcome the obstacles in Star Wars. when you get to the boss, you have to overcome the boss. You have to. You can figure out a bunch of different ways to do it, but you yourself have to overcome the boss, right? And I find this incredible because by doing this, they have transplanted the hero's journey into game form better than anybody else that I've seen. Because it speaks to a deeper understanding of the narrative than I think a lot of other people who are making games do. That's why the arc is in the gameplay, not the cutscenes. Yeah, the arc is in the gameplay. Yes. Right. I thought this was common. I don't think it is common. I don't think it's common like at all in games. Because the games don't explain why you die. They don't explain why you come back to life. All the From Software games are known completely to be utterly, brutally punishing. That's how they're known. Because people don't just kind of like, the game doesn't just like grab you by the hand and walk you through the story. You know what I mean? Like, that's not how From Software games work at all. Not at all. Yeah, I think this has been done for decades. I got better at defeating LeChuck. You always have to improve to get better at a game to progress, right? I don't know how true that actually is, though, because I don't feel like... I mean, I think for a lot of games, yes, you do have to improve, but I don't know how much you actually have to improve in order to complete the narrative. Whereas there is a very clear trajectory in the way in which you experience a From Software game, where like you reach a trial and you cannot overcome it. This is the thing that always happens in From Software games, is that you get to a boss and you cannot overcome it. It's too strong. You get too frustrated. You do not want to play it. You want to quit. You want to uninstall the game. You want to never play any From Software game ever again. And you keep going and you keep going and you keep going. And then you beat it. And then you get this overwhelming sense of joy. And then you move on to the next area, right? And these games are filled with horror because of this. And they also take your experience away if you fail too much, right? No, it's standard in good games. Yeah, I would say in good games, yes, it is standard. I think every great game I've played is like this. I agree. Yeah, I shouldn't say nobody. I should say it's rare. Like, not to talk shit on If Honor Winter's Night for Travelers, it's a completely different game. But like, at no point was I getting better at the game. You know what I mean? I wasn't like getting better at clicking. Nier Automata starts with a difficult level that always seemed like the belly of the beast for me. It's even set to the music intended for the final boss. I agree with this. I think that the Nier Automata does a very good job of kind of giving you a sense of, oh shit, this is going to be a wild fucking ride. And it does that very quickly. You have to figure it out on your own. That's what Dark Souls is about. You can't get any help. Yes. Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, you can't get any help. You can't get any help. And the thing that I've said multiple times about these games is like, Dark Souls feels like depression to me. Like when I play it, it feels like depression. Because I am terrified and I am forlorn and I can't do it. Right. And then I uninstall it. I've tried to be Dark Souls games like, I don't even know how many times, 20. And I just kept getting so frustrated, so down, and I was just like, I'm not going to do it. And I uninstall them and I don't play them. And then a year later, I reinstall them and I try again. And then I tried Bloodborne and I tried Sekiro and I tried the Demon Souls remake and same thing. But the Demon Souls remake was the first one that I got really far into and I started to kind of understand it. I started to kind of understand what the game was trying to tell me. And then I got to Elden Ring and I beat Elden Ring, and I consider it to be like one of the most pleasant experiences in gaming I've ever had. I loved Elden Ring. But it was because of some things that it did differently. And now I feel equipped to go back and try and do this again. Because in Elden Ring, it felt very freeing to be able to leave, right? Like I would come to a boss and I'm like, not even gonna bother. Like that shit is way too fucking hard. So then I would leave and I would go and explore and I would do some other things and I would find these cool things in the forest and I would follow this dude around and I would talk to that guy and then And then suddenly, oh, I could level up again, and I leveled up again, and then I found that cool sword, and then I went back, and then I could feel myself, like, as I experienced more of the world, being able to understand more about the progression path of the game, right? Like, I remember the first time I got to Liurnia, and I was absolutely mortified. I was so scared riding through Liurnia, because I wasn't supposed to be there yet. I accidentally went there, because I was afraid to fight Margit. But anyway, so I haven't gotten quite to what I'm trying to say, but I think, and fine, I'll agree. Most of the best games back in the day, Jak 2 was the hardest console game. I believe you. I never played it, but I believe you. But one of the things, yeah, okay. First of all, I give it to you. I'm sure that most of the landmark games, you have to get better at them. Although I still maintain that not all of them. Like, I don't think I got better at Mass Effect. I don't think I got better at, what's that game called? It's supposed to be like Baldur's Gate, but it was made by Obsidian and it was recent. Path of Exile. I don't think I got better at Path of Exile. I don't think I got better at Fallout. I don't think I got better at Skyrim. I don't think I got better at... You got better at Crash Bandicoot? Yeah. Yeah. Those, I mean, and those are really cool games. But, and I'm not trying to like shit on the subject material, but like the Crash, because I agree, like Crash Bandicoot and From Software share more in common, I would say, than From Software and Mass Effect. You know what I mean? Like they share, they Crash Bandicoot and From Software are more similar. They share more in common than Uncharted. Because I actually don't think that you really get better at Uncharted either. Uncharted is largely an interactive film in which you watch Nathan Drake shoot people. Crash 4 is considered the Dark Souls of platforming. And I don't really care about the whole difficulty like, I don't care that the Dark Souls games are considered to be super difficult. What I care about in this instance is that there is a particular reason why they're making them difficult, right? Because if they don't make their games difficult, you aren't overcoming challenges, which means you aren't a very good hero, right? Like, Assassin's Creed games are not hard. And that's okay. I'm not saying that they need to be hard, but they're not hard. They're not difficult. It's, you follow largely the same path and you do largely the same things in roughly the same areas, and that's it. You know what I mean? And there's not much of a point to it narratively to make the game. They could do it, but they don't. And it was kind of like, it was the same thing I remember with the older Splinter Cell games, for example. Like Splinter Cell, those games were very hard. Like, if you got caught, that was actually a problem because you could fail the mission and have to start over. And I really liked that about those games, because I also felt like there was a continuity to the narratives in those games. And that's made by the same company, you know? Whereas in Mass Effect, it really doesn't feel like it matters. It feels like you're like a sneaky Thanos who dropped down into like ancient Greece or whatever. And you're light as a feather, and also you can punch through citadels. They're trying in terms of drama, so the combat must reflect that. Yeah. Right. Yeah, and there's a true sense of drama when you go into a fight. Like, you are actually fighting. And I got the same feeling with Sekiro too. I didn't get very far in Sekiro, but Sekiro gave me this like unimaginably crazy feeling where it was like, you felt like you were fighting a person. Like, it was wild. Like, the fights sometimes felt real in that game when you're dueling. Like it felt like you were dueling. Not like you're a god who is just cutting people down. Like, I remember this one area pretty early on in the game. You have to sneak around and you wipe out this base. And for me, I was like, I I have liked stealth games in the past. Most of the time I get frustrated with them because I sneak around for 45 minutes and then I get caught and then I get pissed and I reload. But anyway, so in Sekiro in particular, there's this area and there was all these, it was a big puzzle area basically where there's all these enemies and there's so many different ways that they can see you and there's so many different ways that things can go wrong, right? And I got really good at going through this area and killing all of the enemies, and then like in the last three I'd get caught. And then I'd have to fight three guys plus the like mini boss there. Now that I played Elden Ring, I probably would handle this area totally differently, but at the time I was just terrified because you get hit once and you die. So I was going around, and there was finally I hit just the right time where I was in the zone and I killed everybody except for the boss. And I killed like his last buddy. And I found myself standing dead center in the middle of this encampment, and it was just me and the mini boss guy. And he turned around and saw me, and there's like a recognition in the digital character that he saw me. And of course, I'm imbuing this character with my ideologies and my understanding of fiction and the way that I want fiction to be told. And suddenly this guy is real to me. And he's thinking about how he's going to fight me, and he's realizing that all of his friends are dead. And then this became the most epic fight I've ever experienced in a game. It was so fucking cool because it was like I didn't know how to fight him because I'd never gotten this far. So I was like cling, 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 and he was like cling, 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 and we were going back and forth and back and forth, and he loses one of his health bars, and I, blah, 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 and then I kill him, and I went, oh. Like that was what I did at the end of the fight. I went, oh. Because it was so intense. It was such an intense moment for me, the protagonist of Sekiro, to do this, right? And that's the kind of stroke of genius I'm talking about. That I don't know why they did it better than anything else I've experienced. I know that there are other games that do it, but I don't know why those games for some reason do it better, in my experience. And I still haven't gotten the point I'm trying to make. So, in my pursuit of trying to find fiction that does this, I couldn't find it. And I was like, what the fuck? The only thing I found was a series of books called the Tidus Groan series, which is pretty Dark Souls-y in view, but could not be further from Dark Souls in practice, right? Like it's a fantasy series, and it came out around the same time as Lord of the Rings, and it's very gothic-y. Tidus Groan, yeah. Oh God, really? That's crazy that joke came back up again. Unbelievable. But anyway, so Tidus Groan is a series of books, and they all take place in this fantastical gothic medieval fantasy city, right? And it's very in visuals, it's very Bloodborne, Dark Souls, but it's not the same. Oh no, did my webcam turn off again? Oh no, now we have two pictures. Let's make another. Video capture device. So weird. All right. What was I saying? So, so when I couldn't find it, I decided that I wanted to try and write it myself. And this was like a long time ago, where I was like, okay, there's got to be some way. And this was even before I made my realization about going through the hero's journey by having to go through the trials and tribulations of a hero in the gameplay, in the ludic text of the story. And so long after that I realized this while I was already writing the book that's on Wattpad right now. It's going along. And now that I'm like, I don't know, 20-something thousand words into the novel, I don't know what to do. Because what I'm realizing is that now I'm trying to transplant the things from the game back into a book. And I don't know how to do that. And I wanted to know what people's opinions are on that. Like, what can we do? What can we take from games and put them into written word? Because one of the things I'm realizing about myself is I am just fucking screwed. Like, there's no way I'm going to be able to make a game. It's not going to happen. Running and jumping. Okay, thanks. I'll be sure to add that. I can make a game? Not a chance. Not a chance. I wish I could. I wish I could. But yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. You could absolutely be part of a game dev team. That I know I can do. I am sure that I could write for a game dev team. And I'm not giving up on that. I'm still going to do that. I'm still going to try and write on a game dev team. I am not going to make my own games. I just lack the ability. It is not in the cards. Honestly, the closest thing I've experienced to the feeling of Dark Souls to the written word is The Road. Exactly, right? How did he do it? Because I agree. Cormac McCarthy, by far, is the closest thing I have read to From Software games. The Road and Blood Meridian. Blood Meridian and The Road are so visceral. How does he do it? Man, oh man. There's not much interactivity in a book unless it's interactive fiction. Write a book like Finnegan's Wake. You're probably being genuine, and I honestly don't know about Finnegan's Wake enough to talk about it. I just was really not expecting that title. Which elements are you trying to transmit specifically? You need to break it down. Yeah, okay. What I'm trying to break down: mood, flow, experience of narrative. Probably experience of narrative. So what I'm trying to break down, or what I'm trying to steal, is there's only one time that I've ever felt when reading a book. There's only one time that I have ever felt like, oh my God, I can't handle this. Right? Where it was like, I was so overwhelmed with fear and care and emotion and all of these things. I was so overwhelmed, and it was in The Road. And there's this moment where, spoiler, the two main characters get to safety. And so it was the first time I read it. And, well, the first time I attempted to read it. And they made it to safety. And I said, that's good enough. And I closed the book and I didn't read it. I stopped reading it. Because they finally made it to safety. And I had been so worried about them for so long, even though I knew that they were going to live. Just like I know in a From Software game that when I die, I'm not dead. I just get back up at the bonfire and walk back to the boss and fight him again. Right? But most books, the present action doesn't work. It doesn't get into you most of the time. At least in my experience. Most of the time when I'm reading books, I'm like, oh, intellectually interesting. Intellectually interesting. It's not visceral. It's not a visceral feeling. And I really like the Witcher books, don't get me wrong, but I've enjoyed reading them. But even when I read Witcher fights and Witcher moments, the things that I remember about The Witcher are not the fights, because it's basically Andrzej Sapkowski just saying he did a pirouette and his sword went around in a circle. And I'm like, wow, deep. Like it doesn't really hit me it's not impactful. It doesn't make me feel like violence is occurring. It's just kind of like words that describe actions. And I don't know why that it doesn't work, but it doesn't. It just doesn't. Let's see. Books are challenging if the concepts are difficult. Intense writing, there's something to do with the writing style in there, but also story structure and pacing. Pushing your character as close to giving up as possible. Yeah, I mean, that's what you're supposed to do in a hero's journey, right? Like, you push your character to the point, to the absolute brink, and then they give up and they don't finish their hero's journey, and then they do. But descriptions, characterizations, emotions, and conveyed and connoted. Yeah, I mean, but that's all writing. But like, I bet there's a lot of little things being put together and interacting. Yeah, I'm sure there is. Yeah, so like, McCarthy is a master, right? I think it's fair to say that he's considered one of the greatest living writers for a reason, and he will be considered one of the greatest writers ever when he dies. He's one of the best writers ever, and he writes exactly what I want to write, except for in sometimes slightly different. I don't really want to write westerns. You know what I mean? I believe his westerns. Going back to our previous conversation about writing in a different time period. His westerns feel very true to life, but with a point. Cormac McCarthy is just something else, man. But I want to also imbue this sense of like how do you imbue this sense of exploration in a novel? How do you imbue the sense of discovery? How do you imbue the sense of piecing together a larger world from disparate elements that don't always make sense? Because one of the things that Miyazaki talked about when he was interviewed for From Software Inspirations was that he said when he was a child he used to read these big fantasy books that were written in different languages that he didn't understand he didn't completely understand, so he was making sense of the world through bits and pieces, and he didn't always know what it meant, and he couldn't always figure out the totality of the narrative, but he knew that there was like a wizard or something, and the wizard had a motive, and then there was a guy, and he was in a town, and there was a god, and so he was reading this, and he didn't understand it, and so he said later in life he was inspired by this to spread the narrative out in a way that you kind of like you fill out the larger world by not revealing or talking about it. You know what I mean? Like, there at no point in a From Software game does somebody accost you and say, by the way, like, this is how it fucking works, you see? Like, America, blah, 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 blah. Like, nobody does that. Nobody says that in a From Software game. Nobody says, God damn it, the Nazis did it. It's like, no, it never happens. It's just you find a book, or you find like even something weirder, like a finger, and it's like these fingers are known to crawl among the cracks of the great whatever, and you're like, what the fuck? This finger is what? Yeah, but that's all writing. I was going to say, what else can it be? Oh, okay. A narrative that rewards finding small details and how they connect without making it branching. Yes. Yeah. Now we're talking. Now we're talking about the stuff that I'm like, what the fuck? Because in a From Software game, you could be walking around in a cave and you pick up like I don't know, piece of armor. You pick up a glove, like gloves, and you read the thing about the gloves, and it's like, these gloves were marked by the branded soldier of whatever. And then later, somehow, for some reason, you end up finding like the guy. You know what I mean? Like you find that guy. Or you find another piece to how it works. That would require a rather unconventional writing style, one that puts a lot more emphasis on background details and implicit stories and world building without dragging the story down. I know, right? Sounds a little like a detective novel, but without the explicit prompts to solve the puzzles. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we're talking about what I'm talking about now. How do you do this? I think it's just Like, is it a matter of simply, so for example, in the book I'm writing now, there's two characters and they are traveling to a capital. How do you write subtext? Fucking, I have no idea. I wish I knew. You intuit it. But they're traveling to a capital, right? And one is traveling not completely of her own accord. The protagonist is not traveling completely of her own accord. And is it simply a matter of like perhaps they encounter something, because the two characters are from vastly different cultures, right? Speaking on the culture thing from earlier, but the characters are from different cultures, right? And one of them is more of a like a country, like a conservative type culture, and the other is like the capital city, right? So it's definitely like an urban versus rural class, class distinction kind of thing. Um, and their two nations had been at war years previous. So, but they don't know a whole lot about each other. They just know that they were at war. But anyway, let me read some more text real quick before I go on with what I was saying. Um, can I please scroll up? Twitch, please. Thank you. Um, or maybe this requires you to question where the enjoyment truly lies in a story, in a central forward-moving plot, or an exploration of interconnecting ones to infer your own. Yes, this is the exact same question that From Software asked, right? This is the exact same question. What they asked was, do we need to tell the story, or can we just toss out a bunch of shit in the world and then people can read about it, should they want to? And we go, the path, the narrative path, has the least amount of narrative in it. All of it is done in world building. All of it is done in the construction of the levels. All of it, right? Like, think of the first level of Bloodborne after you get out of the hospital. When you go out into like the Yharnam area, you're walking around and like it's the beginning of the hunt. So there's a bunch of guys who are burning a wolf with a stake and they're walking around with stakes and they're literally hunting. They're hunting hunters and they're hunting beasts, right? And as you're looking through this opening area of Bloodborne, these guys are crazy. Like, they have lost their minds. They don't know what is a beast and what's not a beast. And then as you dive further into the level, you go down into the sewers and you see guys that look a lot like the dudes outside who are turning into wolves, right? So they're hunting themselves. They have lost the plot. They have no idea what the hell is going on, right? Which is why they make perfect antagonists in this world that is telling a story without telling you a story. It's brilliant. It's amazing, but it's all done in these little constructed details scattered throughout a level. And everything has a purpose in it. It's wild to watch. But anyway, so I'm going to go back to what Squish Dave said. How do you write subtext? I think the challenge is in understanding it. It's like non-hierarchical world building. There's no big answer the details lead to, but the details interplay with each other. Yeah, right. Which is, it kind of makes sense in general for reality, right? Like, one of the things I actually really appreciate about World of Warcraft is when you actually delve into the world of World of Warcraft, like the history, the creation myth, they don't really know. Kind of like how we don't really know. I mean, we've got some science going on, but like, I'm saying a version of us who didn't know, who weren't like, smashing atoms together and shit. Like, I'm talking, I don't know, like 100 years ago or something. We didn't know at that time how the universe was created, right? Just like World of Warcraft has absolutely no idea how the World of Warcraft began from a lore standpoint. And that gives it more veracity, in my opinion. Like, when you experience World of Warcraft, and you go deep into the lore, you can't find the actual answer because that departs completely from our own our own reality and our own understanding of the universe. It'd be so weird if it was like, yeah, and then there was a guy and his name was Bill and he created the universe. It'd be so weird. Because it just doesn't reflect. It doesn't give the human sense of like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Um, or maybe this requires you to question where oh, I already read that. Okay, but if it links back to the central story in a meaningful way, that would be brilliant. Exactly. So these are the things that, okay, I'm starting to get it. I'm agreeing with you guys. Or even being what outright reveals it when it wasn't clear. So and just like, can I just start doing that? Like, can I just say like, these gloves were of brushed silver, and then later they walk by the brushed silver glove maker shop, and then that starts to fill out some ideas in people's minds of like, oh, these things are interconnected. Is that just world building? Am I just talking about dumb shit? Epistolary novels may be the closest to what we're looking for now so far. Yeah, maybe. If I ever write fantasy, I want all the in-world text to be unreliable. That would be great. Yeah. Um, how are these kinds of stories written? Intense? I guess so. I guess. But like when I read Game of Thrones, I didn't feel like I was getting this grand world building. Like I like Game of Thrones, don't get me wrong. I think Game of Thrones is good. Like really good. But I didn't get this like I didn't get this sense of world building. It was like, yeah, there's a three-eyed raven. You'll figure out about him later. It's like very classical, like Westeros is a smudge. You know what I mean? Like I don't quite understand it. And I think it might be because it's too big, right? Which might be one of the reasons why I've very much, because when you look at From Software games, for example, it's like 2 cities and like some outskirts and a poison swamp area and, call it a day. Even Elden Ring, it's like there's no towns. There's castles. There's like 3 castles and some ruins where people used to live, and that's it, Anyway, I'm sorry. I actually have to go right now, and I know that this is an excellent discussion. I wish we had gotten into it sooner, but we should continue to talk about this, and I look forward to talking about it further. So, yeah, maybe the right details, perfectly crafted and chosen and woven together like points in a spider web. Yeah, but how do you find them? That's the thing we're talking about. How do you find those details? So let's talk about this some more. I'm going to talk about this more next week. I'm going to try and maybe write down some things, maybe come in with a PowerPoint presentation. I don't know. But I actually really do have to go. So I will talk to you all later. And that was a great game. That was a great discussion. We'll talk about it more. Goodbye now. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to end it so early, but like I really do actually have to go right now.